Week to the presidential and parliamentary elections in Ghana. Good evening and welcome to Newsnight.
Our party is doing which is not in the interest of the common good of the nation. Reject it. Speak against it.
Tonight, the test of Ghana's Electoral Commission's preparedness for the 2020 poll starts with a special voting tomorrow. The EC has been allaying fears.
All is set for the special voting tomorrow, Tuesday, the 1st of December. To date, our officers have been recruited and trained, and they stand in readiness to deliver a smooth and seamless and peaceful and orderly process. All materials necessary have been distributed in sufficient quantities.
We hear from the main actors and observers at this point. Also, the clock is ticking fast with just a week to go for a crucial election, and two main contenders are leaving no stone unturned with a massive call on electorate to turn out to vote. While President Akufo-Addo is rejuvenating his base in the Ashanti region, former President Mahama is rounding up his campaign in the Savannah region.
Akufo-Addo has failed, and so all he has now is to try and buy the election.
We're live on the campaign trail tonight. An NDC-NPP parliamentary candidate in Yagaba constituency continue to trade accusations that court remand 9 persons in connection with Sunday's violence, which saw 4 people injured.
So if there's any blame, then the NDC-PC, who is fully 100% responsible.
I don't understand the person who issued the statement. If they ask him to come and prove that I instructed my people go and attack, will he be able to defend it?
And in business, Bank of Ghana introduces fresh measures to help check money laundering and terrorism financing activities in the country, a move that could help fast-track the review by the European Union.
We also have sports.
And later, the politics of prophecies. We bring you details of our latest Hotline documentary on the impact of predictions by men of God in election seasons.
The NDC man will win. Others say the MPP man will win. And then the ordinary man now tells us that, Bishop, is God confused?
That and more in tonight's edition of Newsnight. You want to stay for all the details, but please join us with your thoughts and comments. It's via WhatsApp 055 1111 997. I am Emefa Apawu.
And my name is Mensah.
Election headquarters, proudly brought to you by Petrosol, clean fuel, full quantity. And there's 1 week to go for the 2020 presidential and parliamentary elections, and the Electoral Commission says it is fully prepared for the polls next Monday and expects 100% turnout.
Well, we've been hearing from the chairperson of the commission, Madam Mensah, and she says officers have been recruited and have been trained, all materials distributed in sufficient quantities, and the BVDs prepared and also deployed.
Now, a total of 109,557 persons made up of security personnel, media and staff of the EC are expected to cast their ballot in tomorrow's special voting exercise, which will take place at some selected locations across the 275 constituencies. Chairperson of the Commission, Mensah, has been addressing a news conference on the eve of the special voting and explains the preparations made so far for tomorrow's exercise.
The Commission has made it possible for persons on the special voting list to check their details using the 2 formats outlined above. We encourage all who applied to take time to check their details before Tuesday, 1st December 2020. The final special voting list contains 109,557 persons from the various security agencies, media houses, and the Electoral Commission staff. It is important to note and to encourage the public to disregard the information going on social media that the Commission has prevented security agencies from registering. This is not true. Every officer who applied on time and provided the correct voter ID card details was duly registered. For the information of the public, the special voting exercise will take place at selected locations in all 275 constituencies on the 1st of December 2020. All is set for the special voting tomorrow, Tuesday, the 1st of December. To date, our officers have been recruited and trained, and they stand in readiness to deliver a smooth and seamless and peaceful and orderly process. All materials necessary have been distributed in sufficient quantities, and this includes the COVID materials. The COVID-19 protocols will be put in place. Stringent COVID-19 protocols will be put in place and observed. The biometric verification devices have been prepared and deployed. As a commission, we expect a near 100% turnout, and we are confident that the outcomes will be peaceful, credible, orderly, seamless, and transparent, God being our helper. As the good book states, a horse is prepared for battle, but victory comes from God. As a commission, we have, as a collective, starting from the commission to directors, deputies, regional directors and deputies, district electoral officers, and our temporary officers have put in place all measures, including our laborers and all our staff have put in place everything it takes for a peaceful and orderly and transparent and seamless and successful encounter and election.
Okay, so we are just a week away, a week from today. By this time, it's 5, 6, 10 minutes past 6?
Exactly.
We'll be 40 minutes after polling. I think this is 1 hour, 10 minutes
Exactly.
after polling. Like, I'm looking forward to it.
I know.
The Electoral Commission says shortly after that, they will declare the results in 24 hours. It's generated some controversy.
Exactly. Many of the the actors, especially the opposition NDC and some others, have raised concerns about the ability of the EC to be able to do so. Well, today it came up again, and the EC chairperson has been allaying fears and saying that all things being equal, that will definitely happen.
I can assure you that the elections will be peaceful and they'll be violence-free and orderly and seamless in Jesus' name. There will be no chaos in Jesus' name. But I think there's nothing secret about the work that the commission does. And the question we should ask ourselves is, would we rather have the elections declared after 1 week? I think ordinarily the intention of declaring elections is to really minimize tension. After all, if you have the results, why sit on it? Why wait on the results when you have the results? We all know that our media houses have in the past been able to, present the results within some 10 hours of the poll. And so if you put in place systems to ensure that you receive the results on time, why the panic? I think the panic should rather be if the EC says it will declare the elections after 1 week, then we should be panicking. But if you're bringing in efficiency and allaying the fears and suspicions of persons, I think that this should be commended and encouraged. And rather, we should all work together to achieve this. I think it's a very simple process. Our processes still remain virtually manual, and the EC is not engaging in some complex electronic transmission of results to enable us to achieve that. It's still a very simple process. What we have simply done is to train and build capacity for an efficient delivery of that service. So it's nothing different. It's not figures appearing from the moon or from Mars, but it's the same system where the sheets, and you're relying on the picture, and it's coming through fax machines and scanned copies through emails. And the whole idea is that, yes, the intention is not cast in stone, but the intention is that you're working at the efficient system so that if you receive all the results, you will declare it in 24 hours. There's no point receiving the results and we taking a chill. We going on holiday and having a blast for 2-3 days and say, let's keep the nation in suspense. Because really, there's no point in doing that. So you receive it, the results are accurate, they are satisfied, you release it. So that's a very simple process.
Jean Adukwe Mensah is Ghana's electoral commissioner. Now let's get on the phone line and bring in the NPP and the NDC. Of course, they are the main actors in this election, especially starting from tomorrow's special voting. And we've been joined on the phone by Evans Nimako. He's the Director of Elections for the governing NPP, as well as the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Peter Boama Otokuno. Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen, here on Newsnight. I'll start with you, Mr. Otokuno. I'm sure you've been monitoring and listening to the electoral commissioner today ahead of preparations starting with a special voting tomorrow. I'd like to find out if you're satisfied with the EC's preparations.
Well, first of all, one cannot determine satisfaction in terms of preparation when most of the things that are supposed to be in place for this election are not in place. As we speak, we have not even concluded on which kind of statement of poll that we are going to use and how we are printing and deploying them. Last Friday, we were still debating whether there should be an amendment to the statement of poll as provided for in the CI 127, or we should go for what is in the CI 127. And we overwhelmingly agreed that we should use the existing voter statement of poll. Now, this is arriving because the Electoral Commission decided to, whether by conscious means or unconscious means, go into this election with two registers. We have a certified register that the main register of about 17,029,000, and we have another register which is some 830 people, as they have mentioned. But as the law prescribes, you are supposed to go into the election with only one register. So the case whereby you are going into the election with two registers renders and undermines the entire process, and it makes the law inefficient, because then you would have to be working outside the law in applying the second register.
But did this issue come up, Mr. Otokuno? Did you raise this issue at the last IPAC meeting? Because we know that there was an IPAC meeting.
Very.
And what was the EC's response to this?
And the EC, as usual, will push it aside, and that has been their modus operandi. When you speak wisdom, when you make sense, they just brush it aside, and that is why we may have to print extra ballot booklets. Because when we were calculating the ballot statistics, we told them that don't calculate ballot statistics on constituency statistics. Use polling station register numbers to calculate the ballot statistics. In that case, you will know the kind of denomination of booklets to print. Now, they have printed more of 100 denomination booklets. And when it goes to the constituencies they have to distribute to the polling stations, they realize that they may have to be flipping seat by seat and tearing them to be able to meet the requirements for various polling stations. That is why they came back to print extra ballot papers, which we are still grappling with. Because at our last meeting, we agreed that they had to bring the bigger denomination ballot booklets so that we can print smaller denomination 10 and 25 to replace them. Okay. As we speak, they didn't bring the ballot papers that they sent to the field, but they have printed a smaller denomination, and they are preparing to move them, and we are repeating. They have since moved some of them, and they have promised that they will bring those ballot papers so that we destroy.
In essence, so even at the last minute, the NDC still has some concerns. Let me bring in Mr. Evans Nimako. He's the Director of Elections. Let's find out if the concerns that you raise are the same for the governing NPP. Mr. Nimako, I'm sure you were at the last IPAC meeting. Your colleague on the other side is saying that some of these issues came up at the last IPAC meeting. Well, and he says that the EC brushed these issues aside. Is it an issue that you're on the same page with the NDC on, or your opinions differ on this?
Well, thank you very much. What I was saying is that the last IPAC meeting, the party was represented by our General Secretary and Honorable Obiamwa. I must say that, yes, issue regarding the statement of poll came up, and the EC and the party resolved it. They indicated that this is an administrative issue, but the parties agreed that they needed to amend a certain portion on the statement of poll. That notwithstanding, I think that yourself and Evans Mensah owe me an apology. In the last discussion we held, I made the point that CI 91 is in force, CI 126 and CI 127. Mr. Otukono mentioned that it was not in force, and evidence verified from somebody who said it was not in force. I checked and I came to your station and I said that it is still in force, and I think that you owe me that apology. To continue, the New Patriotic Party has followed the program of the EC. As we speak, we are aware that at Backwest, our agents are ensuring that while the EC transports ballot papers to the various constituencies, we will monitor. So we are monitoring the processes guided by these acts, and we know we are not being complacent. That definitely come tomorrow and December 7th, majority of the people will vote for Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. That is our focus.
Okay. Well, but Mr. Otokuno, earlier we've had your flag bearer, for instance, raise issues about some vote buying. He's mentioned that there are sources within the security agencies have revealed that indeed some monies have been paid to some security agencies, raising concerns ahead of tomorrow's special voting. Is this an issue that has been rectified? Have you been finding out more? What more have you been able to find out when it comes to this issue?
Well, before I speak to that, I think that it is important that Evans understands that, you see, when you are wrong, you are wrong. The issue that he was seeking apology from Evans from, you cited CI 91, as a reference to buttress a point. And I exposed you that, look, there's no CI 91 now. CI 91 has been amended, and CI 91 is still I 126. So if you want to cite the law, you would have to be referencing CI 126. Because CI 121 is out of law. You understand? So I think that this is simple, basic, legal, terminologies, and Evans must understand. And must fix the humble pie and accept that he was wrong. But be that as it may, I was making the point about the decisions at IPAC. The Electoral Commission never said that they will use administrative procedure to amend the statement of poll. And I would understand where Evans is coming from because he was not at the meeting. So most of the things that he would say may be things that will be contrived. But for his information, the agreement by the political parties was that we should go by the statement of poll in the CI 127. Nothing should be changed. Now, what caused the need for those possible changes to be made was that the Electoral Commission came to us with a suggestion that they want to use the manual verification form, which originally is prescribed for biometric verification, the BVD manual verification, because now this year, the system we are using, everybody who goes through manual verification would have to go through the device, the BVD device. So if they scan your picture, the QR code, and your thumbprint doesn't work, your facial doesn't work, then you go through manual verification. But whilst you do that, the CI 127 dictates that you fill a manual verification form. Now, because the Electoral Commission, either advertently or inadvertently, are having two registers for this election, the Form 1A and the Form 1C, which constitutes the second register, is not having the QR code. And for that matter, you cannot be scanned onto the BVD device before you go through the manual verification. So you go through strict face only looking at your face confirming verification for a want of a better description. So the presiding officer now have to look at your face and look at your Form 1A and determine whether you are the person. Then you fill the manual verification form. But the Electoral Commission was suggesting to us that those using the device should not use the manual verification form as prescribed by law, but rather only those who are on the second register, which was not, envisaged, would have to fill the form and do the manual verification with the form. Then we said no. In fact, we stood up, we spoke strongly. Then luckily for the first time in the history of IPAC, the MPP agreed with us that we should go with the old statement of poll such that those using the BVD device would have to fill the manual verification form. And those who are voting by the second register would also fill the manual verification form. So that when we say manual verification, we can put all the manual verifications together,
Okay.
either by device or off device, and know that this number of people went through manual verification. So that is just a bit of information for the election director for the MPP.
Okay, so this is an issue that has become quite tiring at this point. But one other issue that we can all relate to is this issue about the 24-hour declaration of polls on December 7. So for tomorrow, we're going to get all that put together. Then on December 7, we'll get the results in 24 hours, all things being equal. So today, the EC chairperson has had cause to respond to some of the concerns that you, especially the NDC, still had. Of course, we've had your flag bearer still raise those concerns about, declaring the results within 24 hours, asking why the rush. But listening to Madam Jean Mensah today, have you seen enough in terms of the EC's adequate preparedness to do so?
Well, I think that the Electoral Commission themselves remain very confused, and I have never seen a confused electoral management body like this kind of this Mensah-led Electoral Commission. Now, the reason why I'm making this point is that at the last IPAC meeting, the question was raised that collation of results has been provided for in the CI 127. The CI 127 says that you have a collation center for presidential at the constituency, you have a collation center at the region, you have a collation at the national. Now, the question that came was that is the national going to wait for the regional calculations or tabulations so that they will put them together 16 regions and declare, or they are going to pick constituency by constituency? They told us that they are going to pick both. Now, it was a very long debate whether they should go against the law and pick constituency tabulations and deal with, or pick regional tabulations and deal with. And we said that, okay, fine. Both of them can be done. We can do the regionals. While the regionals are collating, the national can still be picking the constituencies on the parallel level. Then the regionals will serve as, a check on the figures that are coming in. So if that is anything to go by, Emefa, it will be very surprising.
Okay.
It will be extremely surprising.
How about you, Mr. Evans Dimako? I'm really out of time on this. Mr. Evans Dimako, let me bring you in on this. I'm really out of time on this. I would really want to hear from the NPP on this because this is an issue that you're also very much interested in. So I'll give a final word to you, Mr. Evans Dimako, on this particular issue.
Thank you very much. But I'm not too surprised. This is the usual behavior of the NDC. When you start with them in IPAC meetings, they will still come out and put out different issues. They are telling us that the EC is confused. I'm not surprised. They've called Madam Mensah as a delinquent. They said all sorts of things. We have said consistently that the actions of the EC must be within the laws of the game. And that is what the New Patriotic Party, we have been monitoring. We are very certain that come December 7th, the good number of people are turning out in their numbers to vote for another Patriotic Party. We are not complacent. All issues point to the fact that Ghanaians have endorsed Nana Akufo-Addo. And so we are certain. They can say all sorts of things about the EC. That has been their game plan. They never like the EC introducing a new voter management system at any point in time. That has been the posture of the NDC. We have in the CI 91-127, we are working with it. The statements of polls are there, all right. The EC introduced to political parties and other stakeholders that there are about 541. And then the High Court gave ruling with respect to Zabzubu and Eputu. So at the last IPAC meeting, they mentioned to stakeholders that the number is likely to move from 541 to either 800 or 900. These are people who were not captured by the BVD and will need a different manual verification, and that they will publish that list and all parties will be given copies. That is what we are looking for, and that's what we are working forward to it. So the NDC can give all the name callings. We cannot. What we are so focused on is that come December 7th, the good people of Ghana will endorse Nana Akufo-Addo. Mind you said that The battle is the Lord. We've committed this fight to the hands of the Lord.
Thank
we know that
you.
this is on our
Thank
side.
you very much. Mr. Evans Nemako is the Director of Elections of the NPP.
So there was this fight over CI, and which
On DM
CI,
Express.
which CI was working. That's what led to this apology and non-apology matter. But it's a simple matter. So it came up about this CI 91. Okay, so Evans Nemako had mentioned this is early last week on PM Express, that part of that law was in existence and was regulating aspects of this year's elections. Peter Tokuno, who was also on the show, disagreed. He says that law had been outlawed. It's no longer in existence, and that for him, it is CI 126 that is in force, right? Now, Mr. Nemako insisted that the entire CI 91 has not been outlawed, but an aspect of it is what was repealed. So then, of course, a very experienced electoral commission former officer was on the show, Ahin, who was the director of elections. Yes, I asked him to clarify and then he says, well, at that time, the Otokuno was right because that entire law did not exist. It turns out after the show that we checked with the EC ourselves. The EC says, in fact, Mr. Nemako was right, that only an aspect of that was repealed and not the entire piece of legislation. From what I understand, Mr. Abeda himself had checked and had come to that same conclusion. Purely that's what it was. But of course, in this season of contests, everything is contested.
Of course.
Even CIs have become a huge fight. We want to talk to the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers.
We don't have them just yet, but I'll take you up north in the northeast region. You know, this weekend there was some violence and then a clash between the NDC and NPP there. We're told that 9 persons were arrested in connection with that violence. They were reportedly charged with attempted murder. And as the police in northeast region continue with their investigations, parliamentary candidates of the NDC and the NPP are trading accusations on who started the clash.
Our reporter says 4 people sustained various degrees of injuries, and the residence of the NPP parliamentary candidate was also vandalized. Here's Crime Officer Superintendent Ruben Duga with details of what happened.
We have arrested 9 suspects who are being processed to be put before court this morning.
What are the specific charges?
We are looking at offenses like attempted murder, being in possession of firearm without license, causing damage, and conspiracy.
Can you explain how this all started?
We had information that there was a clash between NPP and Andy, and so the police proceeded there. What they gathered was that the NDC were on the ground doing campaign. And somebody believed to be from NPP kind of misbehaved. So they took him to the chief palace, and there he apologized before the NDC party chairman and said it was not going to repeat itself. And so they left. Soon after that, they heard gunfire. It wasn't clear who was doing the firing, but later what was discovered was that the NDC parliamentary candidate's vehicle was shot at. And it quite escalated into causing damages to party structures on the ground. And while the police were trying to calm situation down there was another call from Yagaba, that apparently information got to the Yagaba township, and then the NDC party faithful there had organized themselves and also went and attacked the residence of the parliamentary candidate for the NPP.
Well, as you can imagine, the representatives of both the NPP and NDC have been exchanging a lot of heat on this. The MP for the area, Amadou Tanko, has been asking his supporters to remain calm as the police seek to bring closure to the matter. The parliamentary candidate for the NPP, Mustafa Yusuf, won his opponent arrested and prosecuted by the police for the role he alleged that he played in these clashes. Let's bring in our correspondent who's been following this for us, Elias Tanko. What is the security situation on the ground as we speak tonight?
Well, the security forces are still in the community, and there's also a monitoring team on standby in Wale Wale. And as we speak, they have intensified patrols in all the constituencies, even though it's a very difficult area. But one understanding is that there are more security in the area, and they are taking control of the situation.
And how are party supporters of both sides reacting to the arrest and remand, we understand, of their compatriots?
Well, the major reaction is coming from the NDC, apparently because majority of those that have been arrested today are all members of the NDC. And this is the first time that the police have taken such action. There have been violence in that particular community, that particular constituency. But this is the first time that the police have moved in and have taken this kind of action, i.e. arresting people and starting a prosecution. And so, particularly within the NDC, because members of the party have been arrested, some kind of fears in the supporters in that particular constituency. But the MPP members are still demanding that the member of parliament himself be arrested, because according to them, he led this particular rampage and they want him to be prosecuted as well. But we understand the police invited him today as well, but he is not part of those that have been remanded.
Ilyasu, thank you very much.
Well, it's time for business. When we return after business, the clock is ticking fast with just a week to go for the crucial election. The two main contenders are leaving no stone unturned with a massive call on electorate to turn out to vote. We'll hit the camp of the NPP and, of course, the NDC. And then much later tonight, I'll tell you about the mother of all predictions. We've heard about all the predictions, all the polls, but the mother of it all is on PM Express tonight. We'll tell you more after business with George Riafe. Hello, George.
Hi, Emefa. I'll be looking forward to that.
Of course.
It's a grandmother of all those predictions in terms of mother, rather, not grandmother. Okay. Well, Emefa, coming up in business, World Bank agrees in rushing with Ghana's approval as a low-middle-income country following current challenges facing the economy. And Bank of Ghana introduces fresh measures to help check money laundering and terrorism financing following some activities in the country as the European Union moves to review our status. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials. And First National Bank, we are the bank that understands your business. First National Bank, how can we help you?
3, 4. Oh, don't worry, Grandpa. There are still 5 ripe and 15 unripe mangoes on the tree.
That's my boy.
Grandpa, it's still 1.2 kilograms of rice in the container.
My boy. And how much credit did I spend last week?
Well, you spent 5 CDs on calls, 2 megabytes on data, and you sent 5 SMSs.
We are the first network that tells you exactly what you have spent and when you spent it. Dial *156# to access your statement on MTN. We are good together. We day for you everywhere you go.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom. And my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHF, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
We know it's important to create a productive and supportive working environment by investing in your employees' health. With a leading international track record, Apex Health Insurance is regulated and licensed by the National Health Insurance Authority to provide medical insurance services to institutional clients, families, and individuals. Apex Student Package and International Medical Solutions are all here to cushion you. Visit Apex Health Insurance Office at Zion House, Boundary Road, Shiashi, or call
0501 683 914.
or 0232 000 015. In Kumasi, we are located opposite Prempeh College, Sofo Line, and in Takrady, Apex Health, your preferred health insurer.
Fellow Ghanaians, the stakes are high for our country this December. Don't stay home.
Remember, this election is about your future. Which of the candidates would you trust with managing our economy better? Which leader can give us free SHS and enhance the education of our children? Who can you trust to protect us during dark periods such as COVID-19? Who has the competence to protect our economy, build roads and dams?
Do you remember the dark periods of Doomsaw, Create, Loot and Share Brigade?
This December, remember we cannot afford the risk. Let's vote for Nana Akufo-Addo and the NPP to protect our progress.
We're now operating 4 weekly flights from Accra to over 100 destinations worldwide. Book today with greater flexibility and benefit from our all-inclusive fares starting from $654 earning up to 7,000 bonus Q miles. Book today at QatarAirways.com. Terms and conditions apply. Qatar Airways, going places together.
Ades,
yes.
No NDC for manifesto. A mu pipa pa na wo wayano.
Ai, makai. Na de ya mititru wo mu ni chempe no. Yera mama say oba school pon a universities polytechnic ni nursing school na fees no. O chem mienu na wafa ba ko.
Na de me de kra pon say busia ye de ma school for no. Yera John Mahama say obetum no wetia in terms so.
Sir, na what in so say Yerajo mama si oba eye etitafo a wo say school fo nya ansa no madi busie de atua fees no we twemu ana
we yen hihye papa na de kume kra ne student loan plus scheme no Yerajo Mahama say o de be babiem san hihye be bu school fo o menya akwenya wo school mo metu o school fees in term ansa school crash ase
Yerajo mama when so adi hu pa on the 7th December me to ma ba ma number 2 oh, ballot paper. So, any challenger?
No challenger. Ades, you two abana kohe.
You two ababa chempe.
Juma Mahama, ni NDC. Ama ejuma ni inkoswo aba ama yenina.
Joy
99.7 FM.
You welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the World Bank has admitted that it may have rushed in approving the country's status as low middle income. Ghana reached this status after its gross domestic product crossed a certain level. The move was approved by the World Bank when it comes to how it ranks countries and disburses loans and grants. However, some have questioned this new status, looking at the country's challenges in raising the required revenue. The concerns have also been influenced by the current level of donor dependency. Pierre Laporte is the World Bank country director.
From what I can tell you, to some extent, yes. To a large extent, yes. But there are challenges and there are areas where you have not. I'll give you one or two examples. Good infrastructure. Ghana has very good, very strong infrastructure. This is also an indication as to where a country is in stage of development. So very positive things have happened and we continue to see that. But there are areas where Ghana has not lived up to expectations. Not just now, but for instance, I talked to you earlier about the revenue collection. Yeah. A country at this stage of development should be able to do better, collect revenues. I'm not saying increase tax rates. Yeah. Leave tax rates, but find ways of making sure everybody pays. Another area is in the investment climate. Ghana's ranking in the investment climate, I believe it's somewhere around between 100 to 120. It's not good enough.
Pierre Laporte is the World Bank country director. Now, the Bank of Ghana has introduced some fresh measures to help check money laundering and terrorism financing in the country. The action may be coming on the back of Ghana's listing as countries with deficiencies when it comes to anti-money laundering and terrorism financing. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, has been given more details about these actions.
Accordingly, the Bank of Ghana has intensified surveillance of the financial system to identify potential systemic risks, market conduct breaches, and the AML-CFT deficiencies. This will pave the way for prompt remedial action aimed at improved resilience and public confidence. In the light of this, the bank has also revised the AML-CFT guidelines for the industry, introduced a sanctions regime, increased sensitization, and established a regulatory forum to boost correspondent banking relations and general health of the financial system.
The move can be described as timely, especially when the European Union and the Financial Action Task Force are expected to meet on Ghana next month. Now, this will give them opportunity to actually assess the measures being put in place by Ghana and possibly remove Ghana from this list from next year. Now, the chief executive of Stanbic Bank, Alhassan Andani, is set to retire from the bank that is today after almost 15 years in being in that position. But where is Mr. Andani heading to after this retirement? Well, in a recent interview with Joy Business, the outgoing chief executive of the bank told us what we should expect.
Find a sweet spot to get it done. But for me, the objective has always been, after all these active commercial life, is to go back and serve my community. So that's a good, kind of re-entry into that space. They will need help. They will need direction. But that's what a new leader, that's what a chief would bring. But there are some critical events that, you've got to attend. And I'm able, even in my busy life, to schedule holidays to be able to participate in those traditional events.
Mr. Andani giving us a hint of where he'll be after his retirement.
It has to come at some stage, but it has to come at some stage. I always want to go back and be relevant to my people.
So that is the outgoing chief executive of Stanbic Bank, Alhassan Andani, giving us some indication where he'll be heading to in more village, helping with his village actually as being a chief in that village area. And he is retiring after almost 15 years of being in that position. From all of us at Multimedia and Joy Business, say congratulations, Mr. Alhassan Andani. Now, printing press operators in Ahafo in Kumasi have expressed disappointment at what they say is government lack of policy direction for the industry. Members of the Printing Press Association say that the situation is gradually affected the growth of the industry. Prince Apia has the rest of the story.
Asafo is regarded as the hub of printing in Ashanti region. In recent weeks, work has slowed down, resulting in layoff of workers.
We are not doing anything. All our workers are laid off. I had more than 45. Now I have less than 15. And I'm finding it very difficult to even pay at the end of the month.
Though the coronavirus has compounded the situation, the printers say government's poor policy is to blame.
We have been doing this job for so many years. And if a new policy is coming in, those who have been in the system should have been consulted. But all what we saw was that job has been given to individual.
At a press conference, leadership called on government to review the centralized procurement of educational materials for government schools. The printers are not the only concerned group. Book publishers are also feeling the pinch of unfavorable government policies. Prince Apia reporting.
That's all for business, but on the stock market, MTN was up by a peso to close at 61 pesos. And that's all for business on Newsnight. And Emefa, Mr. Ndani is bowing out after 15 years of service as chief executive of the bank.
Stanbic
Bank. And from
oh, goodness me.
Yeah.
We wish him all the best. Wish him all the best. I mean, it's really good. I've encountered him a few times at the Graphic Stanbic Bank event, and it's almost an encounter that you remember because he comes with such depth of knowledge. The bank will miss him. The customers of the bank, the industry. Is he also leaving as the
president of the Ghana Bank? We don't know about that one. You know, and interview Mr. Ndani, you don't even give him any questions, and he will still deliver.
He's just rich.
He's ready for you. Throw all the questions at him, and he's going to deliver for you.
I'm waiting for that encounter with him as well.
Yeah. I only under proof, right?
I only hope that his departure send off. We should invite her. I want an invitation for that. You work at the bank. Who are you? Yeah, George, declare your interest.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, George Biafi. Let's do sports now. Baba Tando has the latest.
Head coach of the national under-20 female side, the Black Princesses, is happy with the preparations of his team ahead of the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup qualifiers. Yusuf Basigi led his charges to beat their Moroccan counterparts by 4-0 in an international friendly match earlier today at the Accra Sports Stadium, and he already is looking forward to the qualifiers.
Actually, this is a team that was camping in Cape Coast. We stayed there for about 2.5 months. So I would say that, yes, we may need beef ups because we've missed about 5 of our key players, about 5 of them. So we only put ourselves together, rally them, and then make sure that we augment the team and then to face any other challenges.
On the foreign front, Argentine prosecutors are investigating Diego Maradona's doctor for possible manslaughter following the footballing legend's death 4 days ago. Police in Buenos Aires have searched the house and private clinic of Leopoldo Luque as they try to establish if there was negligence in Maradona's treatment following surgery. The 60-year-old died of a heart attack at his home where he was recuperating. Dr. Luque has not been charged. He denies any wrongdoing. Maradona had a successful operation on a brain blood clot earlier in November and had been due to be treated for alcohol dependency. You can check out more on myjoyonline.com/sports. You are up to date in the world of sports. I am Baba Tanda from London.
So we are now 7 days to that D-Day, and President Akufo-Addo is focusing his campaign on getting the electorates to turn up and vote. He is hoping for a massive turnout to ensure a one-touch victory for the MPP. The president, who is currently, guess where, in his stronghold of Ashanti region to rejuvenate the base ahead of the election, set the party's target of winning 85% of the popular votes and all 47 seats in the region is on course at Akomadan in the Offensive North constituency. Nana Akufo-Addo said the country is in perfect hands and 4 more years will guarantee prosperity for all.
And then my ba said, Mensah, the Baba Boom contact some more. Then they teach you about the do what dance here. And the Baba said, Baba Bissam said, you my mother said, Mensah, my na yeah. And then Baba Bissam said, Asomania na Asomania, my descendant and and a mumma me coin and trauma, Jumano so na former for Nanano at Mia Juma, Messamo, independent candidate, Bia Jimmy Wamo, and then now what you know, Obia, what's on the Dina Kutaka. Onko Tonaba, police station, Sisaya, electoral commissioner, man. Baba Bia Baba ye easy. Bre anymore. Mobian Trafie, Bian Colonco Chana Jane, Montunaba. Nanya said Nana Yanti or Mebetrefie, Nana Unto Waba, Nana Onyaye, a Banasa, a Commander, a Fensono, a Santinamo, Ghana Mine, Natiasa, Banamatuno, bomb, Amame.
In essence, the president has been talking about how satisfied people are with this 4-year term, and that if they are indeed satisfied with the mandate that they gave him for the first term, then he should be rewarded with another term, and that people should turn out and vote. Don't assume that Nanado has already won and stay at home. Come out and vote. Boom, boom, boom.
Well, boom, boom means what? Do
That's
the interpretation.
One I don't know. It's boom, boom, boom.
Boom, boom, boom.
Tell me
What's the English of boom?
Plenty.
Let's stay in the Ashanti region, because apparently there was a rally today in Finson North constituency where Mr. Simon Mensah, who's the regional minister, is asking the beneficiaries of the free senior high school, the nurses and teachers of training allowance and other social interventions, who he says owe a sacred duty to the president to vote for him.
Anya bibi kekanti Nanado oda number 1 no Nyankopon say Nanado ono na mashira no ana mpese odi Ghana nim ekobo sasa no so me de nato number 1 say oni monim okonkon kan enkofa mpuntio emra komanda emra santeman emra Ghana nyina de ntia omampani da John Dramani Mahama etotum yenu ne sa samokaya 2016 yebeja mi nua Collins team wa ha no me ka kira mu say JDM no enkyere John Dramani Mahama enkyere so person hotowa just drop Mahama. Mutie Nanado Samno, Mutie Nanado Sampano, and you drop John Dramani Mahama in 2016. Nanyankopo say, Wapri Mahama Kuma, as he said the book at Neza, as a senior of Mapani, Abu Mahama 2016, and Timino, Eti Mahama, and Nimguasia, part 2, and anything other 2.
Well, so that is Simon Mensah there. Let's catch up with our correspondent traveling with the president, embedded with his team. Elton Brobe joins us on the telephone line. Elton, so this clearly is an area that the MPP is focusing on. Have they been getting the needed reaction? This is a swing constituency.
Yes, Evans, and the reception has been very good after the offensive north and south. The president decided to do a drive through the business district of Kumasi, and it was a snail pace because the people would simply not allow his convoy to pass. At June, Kejetia Central Market, finally at Boko, and where we are now is Atonsu in the Asoka constituency here in the Ashanti region. And the message from the president and his handlers is that people should go out and vote. What they are targeting to get in the upcoming election is 85% of popular votes in the Ashanti region. According to them, they recorded 1.643 million votes in 2016. They are looking at over 2.5 million in the 2020 general elections, and they're also looking to sweep the 47 seats here in the Ashanti region. For them, the only way they can actualize this dream is for the voters to go out and vote for the MPP and the parliamentary candidates. President Akufo-Addo was emphatic: if you do not vote for me, I will not win. I will only become president if you vote for me. And that's been the clarion call on the supporters of the MPP to do so on December 7th.
Elton, thank you very much. And the thing about Ofunso North is it's one of those few swing constituencies in the Ashanti region at the presidential level. Although the parliamentary level, the MPP has always won it. At the presidential level, it's swung. 2012 NDC, 2016 MPP. More on this. Election headquarters. Brought to you by
Petrosol, clean for full quantity. So to the camp of the NDC now, and the former president is wrapping up his campaign in the Savannah region today. He's been asking voters to compare the track record of the previous NDC government with the current NPP government and vote wisely. Earlier, he's been making some accusations of vote buying. Maxwell Akpogba has more in this report.
In 2016, we had no track record. So it was about comparing the track record of NDC with the promises of MPP. Now it's very difficult to compare reality with promises, because they came with a lot of sweet promises, and so Ghanaians decided to give them a chance, and so they won the election, and they say everything Allah does is good, because after 4 years, now they have a track record. So now we can compare the two track records, reality and reality. So we can compare the 4 years of John Dramani Mahama with the 4 years of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Well, Maxwell Agbagba is embedded with the John Mahama team. Maxwell, where are you now?
Well, the NDC presidential candidate has been visiting the Salaga South, Salaga North, Umpulugu, and Yondo constituency. His message in the Savannah region and in the northeast region, and a couple of places we visited in the past, in northern Ghana, has focused on safety. He said that driving through some of the communities, he realized that there was some kind of self-imposed curfew where people do not move out of town beyond a certain period of time. He says that is because armed robbers terrorize them when they even use the road, highway robberies and all of that. He attributes that to morale being low with the security agencies, and he says that is because there's some kind of infiltration and a seeming state empowerment of vigilante groups. He says that if the NDC is elected, they will empower the state security agencies, provide them with the needed logistics so they can fight crime.
Maxwell, thank you very much. And remember that this is your election headquarters. You need to start getting your fuel from Petrosol, because they bring it and make it possible for you to listen to our coverage of the campaign issues. It's clean fuel, full quantity.
And during election seasons, it is not uncommon to hear some men of God predicting who will emerge victorious after the polls. So God, they say, speaks to them directly on the outcomes of the elections. But who do you believe when God's supposed message to these prophets are conflicting? So my colleague Kwesi Parker Wilson tonight is bringing us the latest Hotline documentary, The Politics of Prophecies. Here accepts.
Nobody can convince me that the hand of God was not in those elections. Nobody.
President John Evans Atamot.
I was one of those people. I just knew Nanado will come to power. He will win. He'll be the president. And so when MPP people come to me, I said, "Oh, Nanado will win."
The NDC man will win. Others say the MPP man will win. And then the ordinary man now tells us that Bishop, is God confused?
Why is God giving conflicting messages to different prophets about the outcome of an election? Here is the question I seek to find an answer for in this documentary.
And it's at 8:30 p.m. tonight on the Joy News.
And then at 9 is the great reveal. We will be outdooring the most fascinating of the polls, the election polls yet on PM Express. Want to join us for that?
It's at 9 p.m. on all our social media platforms. You want to catch it. That's my opinion with Nanan Sakwal is up next.